this is wild, this is crazy. I wasn't going to start YouTube or anything YouTube related for a hot minute. It was something I was working on for months later to go ahead and do, but I was like, why not do it now? Everybody's home, myself included, and this is a time where we as photographers and any small business owner, entrepreneur can really dive into some educational things and fun things, creative things that sometimes get put on the back burner in our day-to-day life, which is so awesome about this time. We're home, we have the time to do some things, some creative things, and to invest in some education. So I was like, why not? Let's just do it, y'all. So for today's video, let's just jump in. As you can tell by the title, we are going to edit, but specifically we're going to edit for true to life colors, which, full disclaimer, everybody has a unique editing style. So this is not the end all be all way to edit. These are just tips and tricks I have learned over time, taught myself, and have really made a huge difference in the way I edit. And just a fun story, just to kind of tell you why I'm making this specific true to life color editing video, is when I was shooting my very first weddings. Very fresh, very new, especially with Lightroom and editing the whole 9 yards. I was just fresh in the field, y'all. Didn't know a thing. And I'm still learning, by the way. I'm still learning. You're never done learning. But one of the very first weddings I shot, it was one of them, I can't remember which one, but I remember I shot the wedding, came home, edited on Lightroom, but back then I had no clue the ins and outs of Lightroom, and my process was to go through the photos. I bought a preset and just slapped that preset on every single wedding photo, maybe made a couple tweaks to like the brightness and the tint and the warmth and the coolness, you know, all that. But that's it. I didn't do any other adjusting, and there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, I was brand new, starting out fresh. Anyways, sent the photos off, everything was great, everything was happy, and the couple came back to me with like one particular set of photos, and they were so gracious, you guys. One set of photos, and they're like, we remember the grass being really green at our venue. Like, the grass was super green. And I was like, what do they mean the grass is green? Of course the grass is green. I went back and I looked at my photos, and I had turned the grass, and I think probably every single photo, because of the preset, the grass was this awful shade of orange I can't even describe. And I at the moment, like at the time, I wanted to cry. I was so embarrassed, but now that I look back, I laugh. But anyways, all that to share, true to life colors are so valuable, and there's so much beauty in editing to true to life colors and keeping your grasses green and your blues blues. Again, each their own has style. So this is not the end all be all. This is just the tips and tricks that I've learned over time. So let's jump in. Let's just dive right into it. So I picked out 4 totally separate photos. So we're gonna start with this one, which is, as you can see, super green, super vibrant. They're wearing super beautiful, vibrant, bright colors. It was in the thick of summer, so everything is so colorful. So I'm gonna apply my preset, which, if you're wondering, I use Anni presets, but I have tweaked them over time to become more in tune with what I like as far as colors and tones. So I'm actually gonna go, which one do I want? I want LA, there we go. If you're wondering why I named the tweak presets LA and LA1, they're named after a wedding, a couple, I shot their wedding, and that, like, while the editing process is kind of when I tweaked it to exactly what I liked, so I named after their initials. Anyways, besides the point. So I've applied my preset, and before I even do anything, I look at the before and after, which, if you go right down here, you can split and see the raw photo versus the preset photo. So I always look for what looks off, what colors don't look really true to life. Is there any like weird highlighting or shadowing going on in their skin tones? Just things like that before I even make any tweaks. So the main 2 things I see in this photo that are a little bit off is her shirt isn't as yellow in that happy, bright, sunshiny color. It's a little more on like the mustardy orange side, so I want to change that. There's also a lot of highlighting going on in his face, so it's a little blown out right about here, and maybe a little bit on his arms. Other than that, I may just bring the vibrancy up in the greens just a touch, since as you can see, everything over here is so beautiful and vibrant. And that's about it. So first things first is I'm going to make my basic adjustments. So I may boost up the exposure just a teeny bit. I'm going to bring down the warmth a little bit, and I'm also going to bring down the pinks, because you can see he's wearing a pink shirt, and that's casting a lot of pink shadowing onto both of their skin tones. So the easy way to fix that is to just bring down these pink tones, and already you can see that made such a huge difference. And when you're making these simple tweaks, just play around until it looks and feels right to you. I may bring down the highlights just a tad. I may bring the contrast up. Actually, I might bring it down a little bit. And I don't go crazy in this section. The reason being is I always like to get it as close as possible in camera, so that way post-process I don't have to go crazy in those kind of simple adjustments. And I also like to keep it simple, because the more adjusting you do, the more it messes with your mind and you're like, I don't know if that looks right, does it look right? Keep it simple, you guys, is my rule of thumb. So that looks good. I might bring up the shadows just a bit. Okay, so from there, I'm gonna go down, and tone curve I rarely mess with, very rarely. Again, it's a beast, it's a little complicated. I only use it when necessary, when like there's something major I wanna fix, or stylistically maybe I want to play around. Never really touch it though. But the main thing I touch is my HSL/color sliders, which HSL and color, same thing. All fancy term is colors in your photo and your tones and how you want to change them. So you have hue, which is exactly what it is, the color, the hue of the color. Saturation, again, just the saturation, how vibrant, how saturated a color is. Luminance, how bright or dark. And then you can also do all, which is if you want to go in and adjust them all at one time, which I don't recommend doing. I recommend doing each one specifically on their own. So like I said, her shirt for me is a little bit, it lost that kind of sunshiny yellow to it. So I'm going to go to my yellow slider, and I'm going to pull it a little more towards the yellow end, but not crazy. If you go crazy, I'll show you, it's going to adjust a whole lot in the photo. So if you go one end, it's going to adjust even the greens in the background. And if I go the other end, everything's going to become like this neon green. So you don't want to go crazy, and you have to remember Lightroom registers and picks up yellows and oranges and reds in all different areas of the photo. So if you want to adjust, say for instance, I want to adjust the greens, right? See how it's going to even change their skin tone a little bit? So you don't want to go crazy. You want to do very slight adjustments. So I'm going to keep it there. And then the main way I'm going to bring back that really nice happy yellow in her shirt is I'm going to go into the saturation. Again, don't go crazy, because that's what you're going to get. This crazy neon photo. You want to do it ever so slightly, so I'm going to bring up the saturation just a teeny bit. All right. And then maybe I'll bring the luminance down her shirt just to get back that nice yellow. So that looks good to me. So after I've done those simple adjustments, I'm going to go back in, split the photo, and just see where I'm at. I might bring the luminance down just a teeny bit more, and the saturation up just a bit. Okay, that's looking a little more yellow to me. And then like I said, there's a lot of just overblown highlights on his forehead. So the way I fix that is you want to use your brushes, which, you guys, brushes are possibly the best thing in the world. Because it allows you to edit a certain part of the photo without editing the entire thing, which is different from HSL, because when you use your HSL sliders, then those colors tend to change all in the photo. But the brushes allow you to do a specific area like his forehead. So I'm going to go in with my burn brush, which is the main one I use, and dodge. So burn and dodge simply means to darken and to brighten. And obviously we would like to darken the highlights on his head. So I'm gonna grab my burn brush. I'm just gonna go ever so slightly just on his forehead, right? I may even do a little bit more like on his, what did I just do? I don't want to set it as a flag. Just in the areas that are a little bit blown out on his face. And you see that just made all the difference. It's not as blown out. And I may even go on his arms just a teeny bit, just to bring it down, those highlights, even maybe a little bit on her jeans, just those brighter areas that kind of take away the focus from them and on different areas. So that is it. All I would do this photo, and that is the before and after. So still keeping those really nice vibrant greens, the yellows in her shirt, making sure there's not any blown out or weird shadows on their face. So that's that one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So this one is on the totally opposite end of the spectrum, because this was almost going into winter, like the very end of the fall. So everything is a little more neutrally toned. They didn't wear as vibrant clothing, a little more wintry, neutral toned clothing. So this one, we're gonna, again, dive right in. I'm gonna apply my preset. And again, before I even touch it, I'm going to do the before and after just to kind of compare what needs to be changed. So upon first glance, obviously their skin tones are way too pink and orange. I also noticed that their jean color is not that nice royal navy blue. It's more of a turquoise. And that's about it. And the sky maybe looks a little funky too. So we're going to go in and we're going to fix that. So again, starting with your simple adjustments, don't go crazy. Gonna brighten it up a bit. Of course, we're gonna take down those pink tones. And again, since the sun is a little crazy, very hazy, bringing up the contrast will bring back that detail into their faces. Again, looking a little too pink, so I might bring it down just a smidge towards the green. Bring up the warmth a teeny bit. Might bring down the highlights a little bit. Okay, so that's looking good to me. So we're gonna go in again to our HSL sliders, and we're gonna go ahead and fix the tone of their pants and maybe a teeny bit in their faces. Let me bring down the exposure just a teeny bit. There we go. All right, so starting with their pants, again, you can see like this is a really nice blue, and this is almost like a turquoise teal, which we do not want. So I'm gonna go into my hue, and I'm going to go down to my blue, and I'm going to pull it more towards the purple end of the blue just to darken up that. We don't want to go towards this because that's getting towards the tealish color. So we're going to bring it just ever so slightly that way. Saturation, I'm not sure what it will do. I think it's just going to, actually that looks a little closer. And if you're having trouble kind of comparing, just do this and you can still edit just like this. So I'm actually going to bring up. And I'm going to bring the luminance down. It's still looking a little bit turquoise, so I'm going to go in to the aqua. Bring that up. There we go. Might bring the saturation down a little bit again. Don't want to go too crazy. Maybe bring that aqua down just a teeny bit. And luminance just a little bit up. And it doesn't have to be like spot on because there's no way you can get it exactly to this color, as long as it is that nice royal blue is really all that matters. And again, just play around with it until it feels right to you. Okay, so that feels right to me, much better than that turquoise color we had. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to just look at their skin tones, and for me right now they look fine, they look great. There may be a little bit on the pink side. So the way I fix that is I could either simply go up here and just bring down the green a little bit, and that already fixed it a ton. Or if I'm really like being picky, normally I wouldn't be this picky, but if I want to, I could go into the hue. And what I do is I will grab, if I'm not quite sure what Lightroom is registering their skin as, it could register as orange, even red, maybe yellow. What you can do is you can grab this little circle and you hover it over the place that you want to change. Click down and either pull up or down. As you can see, it changes their skin tone. But I'm not going to do that because as you can see when I do that, it changes like the entire landscape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that's registering as probably red. So I'm just going to pull up the red a little bit. And as you can see, it just made an ever so slight change, and pull the red down a teeny bit. And there we go. And that is like a very subtle change, probably one you won't even notice after you do it, but it just makes all the world of a difference. And then I might go in again with my burn brush just to add a little bit of detail and texture to their face, and just go in areas that look a little blown out to me, just like so. Just again, this adds a little bit of just texture and detail to their face. Okay, so that looks about good to me. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and double check and just look and see, you know, their clothes stayed really good, their shirt color stayed really good. I like how this is super bright and colorful up here. Sky looks fine to me, so that's about all I would do to that photo. All right, next one. So this one I chose because this was way after the sun had set. It was about to, I think it was like 5 minutes, and then it was like completely dark after this. But the reason I chose this is because we have some really beautiful colors going on in the background, and we want to make sure those stay nice and colorful. Also, I already know their skin tones are going to be looking hecka pink when I apply my preset, just because of this pink right here in the horizon that's probably casting those tones onto their skin. So, apply my preset, and let's get to it. So, first and foremost, we're going to compare. So, upon first glance, again, their skin tone looking some sort of Oompa Loompa. We don't want that. We've lost like that really nice blue and pink in the sky. The sand's looking a little too orange. Their clothes look actually fine. Maybe his shirt is a little bit different color, so I might change that. So there's a lot to do to this. I think we can probably fix most of it in simple tweaking. So I'm gonna bring the exposure up just a touch. I'm gonna bring down my warmth, bring down my pink tones, and already that has done a ton to fix. I'm just sad that this beautiful, colorful sunset horizon is gone. So we're gonna fix that in just a bit. So let me bring this up just a teeny bit more. Might bring the shadows up just a teeny bit. Bring the contrast down a little bit. Okay. So that is looking good to me. I'm gonna go in, just make sure their skin tones are looking good. Split it just to see. Yeah, like that. They might still be a little bit orangey to me. So again, to fix that kind of orange tone, I'm just gonna go down to my HSL sliders. I'm gonna go to my hue, and that's probably registering as, I wanna say orange. So I'm just gonna pull it a little more towards, yep, this yellowish side of it. And I'm gonna bring down the saturation just a teeny bit. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now we're gonna fix this back because we want to get that beautiful sunrise horizon. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm just gonna try to go ahead and pull it back from my HSL, which I'm assuming is going to do their skin tone. See, it registers all. So in order to fix that, before I do, I'm just gonna bring up the warmth a little bit. And as I go along, sometimes I'll notice like small tweaks, and I'll just do them while I'm thinking of them. So I'm like, I want this to be a little warmer, I'll warm it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a brush, right? And I'm actually gonna go in with the burn, but I'm gonna adjust it before I go in. So I know I wanna bring back that color in the horizon. So I'm gonna obviously boost my saturation a little bit. I'm gonna boost the pinks a little bit because they're just really pretty pink. And I'm gonna boost the warmth, right? I'm just gonna see how that looks. So as you can see, that already changed it a teeny bit, but you wanna be careful because you can get it like that on the sand, which we don't want. So the easiest way to do this, instead of brushing, so as you can see, I'm just kind of brushing, just kind of seeing, do I like that? Do I like the way it's looking? I think I do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna grab my graduated filter. What do I want to do from the top down? No, I'm gonna go in with the brush. I'm gonna go in with the brush, and I am just gonna bring back, I might even boost the saturation a little more, and I'm just gonna pull it across just ever so slightly, almost like you're painting a picture. So you don't want to go like this because it's gonna go over their face. You just want to almost do it in like small little strokes, and it's just subtle enough that you're gonna notice it. And I just kind of bring it around like I'm painting, nothing crazy. Just bring up that saturation a teeny bit. And then I want to bring back some of this blue. So I'm going to do another custom burn brush. And I'm going to obviously bring down the blues, bring up the saturation. Let me see how that looks. Okay, so that's a little too wild. So we're going to bring up the warmth a little bit and bring the saturation down. You want it to be super subtle because if it's too crazy, you're going to notice like, oh my gosh, what did this girl do? So again, that's a little too crazy. So what I'll do is I'll bring up the warmth a little bit, bring down the saturation, and even bring up the exposure just a little bit. Okay, so for me, friends, that's like right about where I keep it because we still have that color. We didn't get rid of it. We brought it back ever so slightly. We got these really nice blues, and the only thing I change is a really nice like royal blue. So I might even like go into the hues and just bring back that royal blue a little bit. And again, this is me being like super picky, y'all. Like I normally would not be this crazy, because oh, we gonna make the sky purple, shoot, because that takes way too much time. But this is just showing how you can really get those true to life colors. Okay, so that one's done. Oh, I'm trying to get out. Somebody help me. Okay, well, is that done? Yes? Okay, sorry, y'all. So that is that. So just the key tips of what I told y'all is always use this little before and after button down here just to kind of compare before and after. And always use or learn how to use your HSL sliders. And again, it just takes practicing, just playing with it. Always remember that every edit you make is never final, right? So you can always click reset, you can always undo. So don't be afraid to mess around and play with those HSL sliders, and don't be afraid to play with your brushes. I, as you can see, like have a literally ungodly amount of brushes. I probably need to go clear some out. But just don't be afraid to play around, and just find what works. And also, simpler the better. Obviously this was more in depth for your guys' purpose just to see, but the simpler the better, right? So don't go crazy in your editing. Just remember that whatever you do, again, you can always reset. And also just remember what it looked like, what it felt like where you were, and edit to that. I hope this was super helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. Anything you need, I'm here for it to answer. I'm an open book. But I hope you guys have a great week.